Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Happy Empowerment Hour at X Level. We are so excited today to bring you one of my very fun and dear friends who's done an amazing job with an organization she co founded. And I'm honored to be one of her ambassadors of the program, Mercado Global. So, everyone, please help me in welcoming Ruth, now Alvarez, DeGolia. So, hello, Ruth. How are you, friend?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me here today.
Well, I'm so excited and congratulate, or I should say, best wishes to the bride. Congratulations to the groom. You just got married as well.
We did. We did. Thank
That
you.
is so. Well, just to backtrack a little bit about you and I meeting, we met through our very dear friend Gabriel, who we all love. And we actually, it's interesting, is the episode right before this one is one with Rex Houseman, the night I actually got to meet you at the dinner that we had, over the MoMA Sculpture Garden with Henry and Kyle.
Yeah.
And it was such an amazing dinner, but I truly was enthralled of our conversation and your passion for your organization and all that you've done. So tell us a little bit about Mercado Global and, and all that you've been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mercado Global is about two big ideas. It's about first that Indigenous women in rural Latin America, rather than be victims of discrimination, of sexism, of a lack of education, that they can be some of the best rural entrepreneurs in the world and that they can earn the money they need to provide for their families and send their kids to school themselves. And the second big idea that Mercado Global is all about is the idea that the fashion industry can be a force of positive change by using their supply chain and their market share to help women-owned businesses, women and minority-owned businesses access markets and help Indigenous women get access to income so they can provide for their families. So that's what we do. We help Indigenous women make amazing products using their, generations old traditions of weaving, master weaving and craftsmanship, and sell their products to international retailers like Nordstrom, Levi Strauss, Stitch Fix, Reformation, places like that.
And that's so
So
free people because I remember
yes,
and last year, and one thing that I loved was, and thank you for having me on the committee, was your great event that you do in New York. I know right now we're not doing the event in New York this year
yeah,
with everything going on,
yeah.
but tell us a little bit about all the different people in the industry that you've honored and how do you choose who you honor every year?
Absolutely. Well, we look first at partners that we're working with, companies and individuals who have really gone out on the line and partnered with us to help build market access for our partner artisans and help elevate the voices of these amazing Indigenous women that we serve. Free People is one example. We honored Free People, their president and their creative director, and well, really, their whole management team came to
Right.
the dinner in New York City. They all came up from Philadelphia, which was
Yeah.
amazing. But it was so perfect because they really have partnered with us to expand distribution for our artisans' products. They've given us their supply chain and helped us, source materials where we needed it. They sent their top buyers to Guatemala to work directly with our artisans. There's just so many ways that they've supported us. So we were really excited to honor them. And they've been working hard to make a more ethical supply chain within their, beyond just their work with us. So we wanted to honor that because not all retailers do that. And it's really
Right.
sad because we see it as such a win-win. Consumers want this. So many
Right.
women, we want beautiful, amazing products, but who doesn't want to help, vote for a better world with their dollars? Who
Right.
doesn't want to buy a product that has this amazing story of empowerment behind it? Um, so we're really excited. Another one of our recent honorees was Levi Strauss. And Levi Strauss actually was our first wholesale client.
I'm wearing Levi's today.
Oh, there you go. I love it. I mean,
Yes.
I swear they do not pay me to say good things about them, but I feel, everywhere I go, I want to say amazing things about them because we've worked with them for 10 years and I've seen nothing but amazing things in terms of how hard they work to be a more ethical company, do ethical sourcing, and to really pioneer, be a leader, and get out there on the front lines of pushing the rest of the fashion industry to be more ethical when it's uncomfortable to do so, but when
Right.
it needs to be done. So
Definitely.
so
And
those
I
are some of the
love
factors we take into account.
And I love that you do that. And I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What has been maybe because you all do so many amazing things with the Indigenous women beyond utilizing their amazing artisanship and making sure they have livable wages, which is very important personally to me as well.
Yeah.
But I love how you also work with them with education. You also work
Yes.
with them with mental health. Tell us a little bit about those parts of your program as well.
Yeah, that's a big part of what we do because so we work exclusively with Indigenous women in rural Guatemala, and we help them build community businesses that they own. We help them legalize them and sell internationally. But most of the women that we work with have never had the chance to go to school. Guatemala is closer to New York City than LA is to New York City. So, these are literally our neighbors. But in Guatemala, little girls, when they're born, don't necessarily get a chance to go to school. And
Mm.
so when we're helping women access markets, it's not just about selling their products and making that connection. We start with self-esteem classes and basic financial literacy and how to build your own business, how to run it, how to pay your taxes, how to open your first bank account. And so our community-based education program, where we go to in the normal world, when it's not a pandemic, we go to all of our partner communities, and right there in the community, our staff do trainings and build up the moms. That's a big part of what we do, and it makes it possible for them to build businesses that allow them to send their daughters to school, because public education is not free in Guatemala.
Right. No, definitely. And and on that end, first of all, thank you for doing that, because I think it's like the old adage of teaching somebody to fish or giving them fish. And I think that so for anyone that's watching us, how does someone get involved with your amazing organization? Because whether and let's talk first as a designer, because I think what you're bringing are amazing aspects, but there are possibly other lines or other retailers that
Yeah.
aren't aware of your organization. Hopefully, through this platform, they do become aware of how they could help. Tell us how someone gets involved with Mercado Global.
Oh, there's so many ways to get involved. At a very basic level, please go to mercadoglobal.org, O-R-G, sign up for our e-newsletter, check out our products on our e-commerce site, especially our masks for those who are needed most program, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a second.
Yes, we will.
But in addition to that, we see ourselves as we're not a brand, we're a community. Or we're not just a brand, we're also a community. And we are always looking for people to help us build this community and help us expand the network of people that are helping Indigenous women access international markets. So we're always looking for for people who could introduce us to clients and customers. We have an impact council of young people that help promote our work across the country. We have volunteer positions. We have an externship program. So if you're an industry professional with a really special skill in sales or marketing or design, and you're looking to do a special project on the side that gives back and helps us, we have an externship program that's amazing that you should definitely contact us about. So you can email me at ruth@mercadoglobal.org. You could DM us. You could contact us through our website. However you want to reach out, please just reach out.
No, definitely. And Ruth, on that note, I know Mercado Global is near and dear to you, but why don't we start at the beginning? What got you so impassioned to start an organization like this one?
Yeah. Well, I come from a family of labor leaders. And I remember my grandfather when I was a little kid telling me that business was bad. And so that was kind of the mentality I took. And for me, it was this learning experience in college. I had the opportunity to go to Guatemala and work with these amazing women and try a whole series of things to help these indigenous communities where the families were literally starving because the moms, there was no income. And we tried all different things. And over time, what I realized was there was so little philanthropic resources available and such great need. The sustainable solution, what would really empower and transform the lives of these women and families, was just giving them access to a market. That was what every single community I would go into, the woman would ask me before I leave, they would come up and say, Ruth, wherever you're from, would you take our artesanillas and sell it? And I remember going back to campus at the time I was a sophomore at Yale, and this was before social entrepreneurship was this cool thing that
Right.
was very desirable. And I remember just setting up a table in campus and selling products, and it was not considered prestigious at all. And I remember deciding, you know what? I don't really care. I'm taking myself out of the rat race. The most important thing for me by far is these women asked me to sell their products. That first weekend, we sold $5,000 in products. It sent 26 little girls to elementary school for a full year. And I was like, just
Wow.
send me more products.
Yeah.
And it was the only thing that mattered. And so it was this process of realizing, no, it's not that business is bad, and it's not that globalization is bad. It's that globalization is a tool that has not been in the hands of Indigenous peoples. And we needed to build a new kind of business model that connected rural communities in Latin America, especially Indigenous communities, to the international market on their own terms in a way that was empowering and put them in the driver's seat in terms of income and how they wanted to access the market. And so that was why I started Mercado Global.
That is amazing. And how long has that been now?
This is actually our 15-year anniversary, believe it or
Wow,
not.
you're quinceañera with Mercado Global.
Quinceañera, it is a
Felicidades,
quinceañera.
yes. And well, I have a little bit of white on for you, yes.
I love it. I love
I
it.
love it. So that is wonderful, and I have a question. With the pandemic and everything going on in the world, how has your organization been affected, or what are you all doing that's different?
Well, this is the second recession that we got ourselves
Right,
through.
right.
And we did the same thing in the last recession that so far, knock on wood, we're doing in this recession,
I
which
can hear
is
it for you.
in every crisis, there's an opportunity.
Right.
And so when the pandemic first hit, it was, obviously really scary, very terrifying. But we just went back. I really believe in value-led organizations and companies, and our core values are authenticity, partnership, and respect. And so we sat down and we looked to those to think about, okay, what do we do? How do we guide ourselves through this crisis? And first we'd focused on reaching out to all of our donors to raise money to donate food in our partner communities, because the whole economy and government of Guatemala closed down before New York City closed down. And so people were just literally had no access to resources or food. But at the same time, something that happened that was really amazing for me was I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, how do we raise money to donate food in our partner communities? And then my WhatsApp starts blowing up. And it's our artisans and staff in Guatemala contacting me because they're worried about me and our staff and our donors in New York City, because they're hearing on the radio about how bad the pandemic is in New York City. This is, mid-March. And they're so worried, and they want to know what could they do for us. And one of
Oh,
our staff had this idea, well, usually we make handbags, but can't we just make masks? And so we just, our design team, they just, worked with our artisans to design a couple masks. We just grabbed all the overstock fabric we had in our offices, and we just started making masks. And our sales team, we just switched them from selling products to calling hospitals and nursing home in New York City to find out who needed what. And we just started shipping thousands of masks via DHL to different hospitals and nursing homes in New York City. And in the second half of March, we sent 8,000 masks. We've now donated 65,000 masks. We
wow.
started in New York City, then we switched to hospitals, and we switched to postal workers, public housing residents in New York City. Now we're focused on migrant communities here in the U.S. And really masks for those who need it most. We
Right.
launched our e-commerce program, where as one of our amazing mask
Yeah,
ambassadors,
I love mine.
it's now being funded. Every mask we sell online and through our wholesale partners funds us to donate one mask to a migrant community at need.
And I
Yeah,
love that. So that means every time you purchase a mask like this one right here, you're actually donating one to a migrant community. So you're buying one for yourself and giving one to someone else that really needs it. I love, love, love that about your
yeah,
program.
yeah. And so in a crisis, we found this way to not only help be part of the solution globally, but really draw on kind of our core values as an organization, which is about partnership and about this idea that women across the Americas and communities across the Americas, that the way we're going to create a better future is by helping each other. And these migrant communities in the US, on whom we all depend for our food and for
Right.
many other aspects of our daily lives and for our society, many of those migrants are coming from the communities where we work in Guatemala. And so, it was a way to help these communities that otherwise are not being helped. And at the same time provide income to our partner artisans. Right now, if you drive through rural Guatemala, everywhere you go, you see white flags everywhere, because people, when they're so desperate, they've just completely run out of money for food, they're just putting out white flags and saying, whatever you have, if you have a piece of bread, please give me a piece of bread. And one thing that we are so proud of is that at a time of such great need, that last quarter, we were able to provide much more money to our partner artisans in sales than we ever have in the history of the organization. And it was because of this masks
Wow.
program. Yeah.
That is
Everyone from
amazing.
Stitch Fix sold 2,400 masks for us. I go down the list of our retail partners and donors. People have gone to our website, bought a bundle of 10 masks for everyone in their family, and all added up, and it's allowed us to donate 65,000 masks so far and counting, because there's still a lot of people that need help.
That is amazing. And, with that note, I love what you said is how you've turned things around in a pandemic, and look at how many more blessings you were able to give because you figured out how to do that, which really leads to one of my favorite questions to ask everybody right now is for a viewer that's out there, that of course has been living with COVID and going through a pandemic. And I think all of us have gone through our different stages of quarantine and aspects of that. What advice would you give anyone that's hearing us right now in how to get through a pandemic at this time or reinventing themselves?
As individuals or as
Yes,
business
as
owners?
individuals.
As individuals? Well, I think, the first thing I would say is to step back and take a moment to kind of survey the landscape
Mhm.
and see what's going on. And because in every crisis, there also is an opportunity.
Right.
And so to, take a moment to think about, okay, what are the new opportunities in this new world that we're living in? What are the new needs that I could help meet? That would be the first thing. But as part of that, also to take a moment to reflect on what is truly important to you and what do you really want? Because I think in the normal world, it's very easy for our minds to lose track of what actually matters to us and what we really want, what will truly make us happy and meet
Right.
our heart's desires. It's easy to instead think that what other people tell us we should want is what we really
Right.
want. And so I think a blessing in the pandemic, if you could call it that, is the opportunity for more quiet and to reflect.
Mhm.
And so that could be a source of power, because if you could become more centered and more in touch with what you really want, then you could look at, okay, in this new world, what are some of the new opportunities? How could I reimagine what I'm doing and how I'm approaching things? Be it going back to school, starting a new business. There are lots of new business opportunities right now. I think a lot of people that are looking for jobs can be discouraged because they look at the unemployment rate. But the reality is there's two economies right now. There are certain parts of the economy that are really struggling, laying off workers, businesses are closing, and then there's a whole part of the economy that's really thriving. And
Right.
people feel uncomfortable talking about that. But we could go through which are those companies, but there are a lot of companies and parts of the economy that are growing, that are hiring. I mean, we're hiring.
Right.
you know, and so it only takes one job, and you
Right.
got to get out there, but then also mobilize your network. That to try to find a job or find opportunities on your own can feel overwhelming and daunting. But if you think of the army, the team that is going to help you succeed, it's not just you, it's your family, it's your friends, it's your former classmates. And then think, how could you leverage all of them to network to where you want to go? Now you have an army out there fighting for you.
Definitely. Wow. You leave me speechless because it's a beautiful sentiment. And I love what you stated because you're right. It is about expanding our network. And I love what you said. It's interesting because my team I know is going to hear this. I always say there's always opportunity in crisis. There's always opportunities to look at things differently. But to your point, I think what I've walked away with as well, it's about, I love that quiet time of being able to reflect and say, is this leading us in the right direction? And I think everyone, whether it's personally or professionally, is reassessing a lot of things. But that's also why I think this great Happy Empowerment Hour conversation with you is vitally important because a lot of times they don't know about this network. But it's like, how do we all help each other grow? Because I do believe that by making change for one person you don't know across the globe, you're making a
Yeah.
change for yourself. It's a ripple effect of everyone doing something positive together. And Ruth, You are someone to be admired,
Oh,
someone that everyone should definitely go and support your amazing organization, Mercado Global. And I have to tell you, I am so glad that when you were at Yale, you founded this organization and how you got the girls there. Because I always like to remind my team, I go, 1/3 of the world that are women are not educated
yeah,
or are educated. 2/3 of the world is not.
yeah,
So we are very lucky to have what we have and to be able to do this. And because it's through the power of education that we can really rise and be empowered to be able to help everyone in a global landscape.
that's right.
So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Any other things that you want to share before I let you go?
Just that each of us, we have to take our piece of land, take our place in the world, and do what we can to make it a better place, and be happy. And we can't solve everything, but if each of us is helping where we can with our purchasing dollars and with what we do every day, the world will be a much better place than it is right now.
Definitely. Well, everyone, there will be information below. Be sure to hit subscribe. But besides hitting subscribe, make sure you're going to the website Mercado Global. You, by purchasing one of these fabulous masks, will also be able to donate to someone in need. And I will tell you this, they look fabulous with their outfits. See, they're right there. They're cinched beautifully. And I have to tell you that I am so, so, so grateful to you, Ruth, for your time, for all that your organization does. And everyone, let's make it a better place by all supporting Mercado Global. Have a
Thank
fabulous day,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.